Hello everyone, my name is Braden, this is Airless Quill 9, and in today's video, we are going to talk about Cyclopses, the Monocular Oracles of Destiny. So, Cyclopses are gigantic one-eyed descendants of the gods. Using their mystical vision, Cyclopses can witness how future events are likely to occur. And this is some new lore that is integrated into their stat blocks now. So it's hard to really talk about without looking at the stat blocks first. So we're actually going to get right into it and talk about starting off with the Cyclops Sentry. So the Cyclops Sentry is a huge giant. These are chaotic neutral. They have an armor class of 14, an initiative of +0, 138 hit points, a speed of 40 feet. For their ability scores, they have a strength of 22, a dexterity of 11, a constitution of 20, an intelligence of 8, a wisdom of 6, and a charisma of 10. For senses, they have a passive perception of 8. Languages, they know giant. They are a challenge rating 6 creature. For actions, they have a multi-attack, allowing them to make 2 attacks using Stone Club or Rock in any combination. Stone Club is a melee attack roll with a +9 to hit, a reach of 10 feet. On a hit, it deals 3d6 +6 bludgeoning damage, and if the target is a huge or smaller creature, it has the prone condition. And in addition, Rock is a ranged attack roll with a +9 to hit, a range of 30 to 120 feet, and on a hit, it deals 3d10 +6 bludgeoning damage. And then finally, as a reaction, the Cyclops Sentry has an ability called Limited Foresight, which has a recharge of 6. For its trigger, a creature that the Cyclops can see makes an attack roll against it. And in response, the Cyclops can impose disadvantage on the roll, and in turn, the Cyclops gains advantage on attack rolls against the target until the end of the Cyclops' next turn. So yeah, some pretty interesting things going on in this stat block. So let's talk about the differences between the Cyclops Sentry and the 2014 Cyclops, because there are a few to mention here. So first off, we don't really have any changes on the defensive side of the board here. All the changes that we can see here are going to be in the actions and in the new reaction ability that they currently have. So Stone Club used to be Great Club. It has been changed. The damage has also been slightly reduced from 3d8 +6 to 3d6 +6, but it does have the additional ability of knocking a huge or smaller creature prone. So there's a give and get there that they made for the change there. And beforehand, the rock could not be used in conjunction with the Cyclops' multi-attack, so that is entirely new there. And I think because of that, the damage for rock has been decreased. It used to be 4d10 +6, it is now 3d10 +6, so that is a downgrade in damage, but the overall damage for the Cyclops is slightly higher because of it now being able to use rock with its multi-attack. So that's a significant change there. But the real change here is this limited foresight reaction. So this is entirely new for the Cyclops. It did not have this before. Beforehand, it did used to have a trait called poor depth perception, which said that the Cyclops had disadvantage on any attack roll against a target more than 30 feet away. That has been completely removed from the stat block here, and they have instead gotten this limited foresight ability. So yeah, some pretty interesting changes here. It fits this new narrative that they're talking about in the text now, to where Cyclopses can now witness how future events are likely to occur. So this limited foresight is a way of them like tapping in to that futuristic sight. So it makes one thing less likely to happen and gives them an advantage for the future. So yeah, kind of an interesting change here, but those are the changes to the actual Cyclops stat block. Of course, other than the change to the name, you have the Cyclops Sentry, and as opposed to just the Cyclops, because we do have a new Cyclops stat block now that we are going to talk about, and this is the Cyclops Oracle. So this is a huge giant chaotic neutral. They have an armor class of 16. They have an initiative of +8. They have 207 hit points, a speed of 40 feet. Ability scores, they have a strength of 22, a dexterity of 11, a constitution of 20, an intelligence of 16, a wisdom of 18, and a charisma of 10. They also have proficiency in Constitution and Wisdom saving throws. They have a history of a +11, perception of +12. They have true sight of 30 feet, which is quite significant. They have a passive perception of 22. They know Giant as a language. And this Cyclops is a challenge rating 10, so it has 5,900 experience points and a proficiency bonus of +4 because of that. So for this Oracle's actions and reactions, there are some changes here on this side. So the multi-attack now allows the Cyclops to make 3 attacks using Radiant Strike or Flash of Light in any combination. Radiant Strike is a melee attack roll with a +10 to hit and a reach of 10 feet. On a hit, it deals 3d10 +6 radiant damage. And then Flash of Light is a ranged attack roll with a +10 to hit and a range of 120 feet. And on a hit, it deals 2d10 +6 radiant damage. But the target also gains disadvantage on attack rolls until the end of the Cyclops' next turn. So that's pretty significant. And then finally, in the action section, the Cyclops does have a spell casting action. This allows it to cast one of the following spells requiring no material components and using Wisdom as your spell casting ability with a spell save DC of 16. Twice per day each, it can cast Arcane Eye, Detect Magic, and Locate Object, and then once per day, it can cast Legend Lore. So these are all flavor spells. Nothing really tactical here, except maybe Arcane Eye, but nothing tactical, at least in terms of being necessary during combat. Reactions wise though, the Cyclops Oracle has a reaction called Portent on a recharge of 4 to 6. On its trigger, the Cyclops or an ally it can see makes a d20 test, and in response, the Cyclops rolls 1d20 and chooses whether to use that roll in place of the d20 rolled for the d20 test. So this is very similar to the wizards or the divination wizards portent feature in a sense, but this is able to happen quite a bit. Really, it's a 50-50 chance that they get this back every turn, so that's pretty significant. Um, Overall, though, with the higher damage of Radiant Strike and being able to make 3 attacks per turn with its multi-attack, having the ranged option of Flash of Light available, albeit at a slightly lesser damage, but tacking on an additional effect. There's some pretty interesting things happening here in this Oracle stat block, and it's a very different way to run a Cyclops than we've had previously in Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, some pretty interesting things going on here. And I really like the changes and additions, especially for the Cyclops Oracle. So nice that we have an additional Cyclops option, and it has some really interesting mechanics available in it as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like Cyclopses. If you do, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more content from this channel. We're going through every monster in the 2024 Monster Manual, talking about its changes, as well as any other additions that might be relevant. So just keep an eye out for these videos on weekdays. Until next time, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you all in the next video. See you later.